Good morning, everyone. Well, it's almost afternoon, actually. Hope everybody's enjoying the first week of June, first weekend of June. Good morning. It's almost afternoon. I think my sound's working. I was wondering, somehow, because I haven't been here for the last 3 days, somehow the plug in my headphones managed to get back. It's been a while since I've done a Ramblings of the Chaotic Mind. Thought we was kind of overdue. Not overdue, I'm overdue, for one. Good morning, Bree. I'm in the mood. I guess I've been in the mood for a while to commit some thought crimes. I mean, what is thought crimes? It's nothing but psychological warfare, propaganda bullshit anyway. It's saying that you can't have a thought, you can't have free thought, free speech, freedom to be yourself, to have a voice. A lot of the things I've seen this past month or so, I mean, it's literally our government, flat out, our government, our enemies overseas trying to destroy the very concept of what the United States stands for or stood for in their eyes. They want to snuff out that very last beacon of hope to the world. And they're succeeding. They're subjugating people in the worst possible way. We've seen it through the COVID incident of 2020, 2019, 2020, whatever. The propaganda and weaponized fear they used. They seen how they could control people. They seen how they were controlling what was in the supermarkets, what people could buy. And honestly, they took it one step further. Oh, I swear to God, we have this bullshit that I had on Monday with me not being able to keep a stream up. I'm going to lose it. It is not on my end. YouTube don't want to go play in that fucking game with me. Not now. Like I said, I'm going to commit some thought crimes. If you don't like it, I don't care. I told people on the Memorial Day podcast, if you caught it, you know what I'm talking about. I'm just done. I'm done being the nice guy. I'm going to take the other tactic and be blunt, precise, and right to the point. But that's what we're dealing with. They don't want you to be to the point. They don't want you to express what you feel. They don't want you to express your words. They want to tell you you don't have a choice for words. We see the biggest push right now in my lifetime with people I would never thought would ever try to push for gun control. They want, I mean, they never let a crisis or a tragedy to go wasted. They want to seize upon it. I've seen the talk out there. Personally, I don't care. Not everything's a red flag. Not everything's a conspiracy theory. Shit happens. Bad things happen. And that's just a fact. That's just the way of life. I like to think there's just as much good things that happen around this world than there is bad. But unfortunately, they want to put the bad always in our face, which is a form of psychological warfare. The more they can put that in there, the more they can instill fear, cause depression, cause the adverse effects of what you want. I mean, let's keep it real. It's okay for transgender or drag queens to do a strip show in our school system, but let a grown ass woman go in there and there'll be an outrage. You can't have a woman that stripping for your kids, but it's okay to have a fucking man do it dressed up as a woman. Since when does right become wrong and wrong is right? You guys, has everyone lost your fucking morals? In neither case is it right. If it's definitely not right for a woman to do it, it's 100% wrong for a male pretending to be a woman. No offense to you drag queens out there, but that's what you're doing. You're pretending to be something you're not. You're role playing. Just like we're bombarded with all these commercials of mixed interracial couples. You can't have just a straight black couple or a straight white couple in the commercials anymore. It has to be a mixed family. More psychological warfare. It's programming. It's indoctrination. It's the whole talk of the transgender movement and a lot of this race bullshit. It's stripping people of their identities, stripping you of who you are. And being what they want you to be. If they can't control you through those things, they'll control you through other means economically. State of Indiana, 5.15 for a gallon of gas, 5.79 for a gallon of diesel. Already we see shelves not fully stocked. Meat products through the prices through the roof. Between buying gas and putting food on your table, it's becoming a chore. But it is a man-made crisis. A crisis that could be easily fixed. But no, when it comes to the American people, our Congress does nothing. Oh, I see the Twitter post from the representatives that think they're on the righteous side of things. But what have you done? I've not seen you bring any bills or legislations to the thing to help the American people. Now, some of you did not vote to send billions to Ukraine. You voted against it, cool. But you've done nothing to help the American people. You're all talk, no action. No, I'm done with it. You have a voice. You're supposed to be our voice, but you don't even use it. Oh, you might come to Twitter and take pop shots here and there, but your actions speak louder than words. We can see what you've done. I can go through the records of the bills. I can go and watch while on government.org while you're in session what you do and what you say and what you don't do. And you expect me to re-elect you? To vote for you? Hell no. Not even a little bit. I'm going to remember this 5.15, and it'll be higher before the month's over. I'm going to remember what it cost me to just drive to the store to get groceries that I can't afford. I'm going to remember all this, and I'm not going to be so forgiving, and I'm definitely not going to forget. I never forget. The days of being so forgiving to you people is long gone. The day of being nice is long gone. So when you want to spew your rhetoric, your lies on subject matters, I'm going to counter those matters. I'm going to speak. Because what's the point if we do? I'm going to speak if we don't or do. There is no point. The point is we all have our little niches. We all have our viewing audiences. Some of us, and yep, we're back to that bullshit again. Mm, It's just another means to frustrate somebody and try to control you. I mean, I've already got it set up, so as soon as you cut the stream, I'm going right back live. So I don't know why you do it. I should have a perfect, excellent connection. In fact, I went one step farther and set all my settings to a low internet latency connection. So maybe we wouldn't have this issue, even though I have no problem with my internet connection. So we'll see how many more topics we can hit to push those buttons. Wow, I'm buffering too. Damn, I'm buffering on an excellent connection. That's great. I mean, I'm sorry. Enough's enough. It's time people start screaming at their top of the lungs. Enough's enough. I'm sorry. Enough was enough was when gas reached $4 and prices started going up. Enough was enough is when they were spreading their fear because of the COVID pandemic. Enough was enough when churches closed their doors. That should have been the straw that broke the camel's back. That was the very first thing they pulled. But we let it slide, and here we are today. Here we are today where it's okay for drag queens to strip and perform to your kids. But don't let a real stripper, a real woman stripper, go do it. Because then it's wrong. I'm sorry. I'm done with the double standards. What's good for the goose is good for the gander, right? I mean, what else does it take? What it takes is actually sitting here breaking these things down, pointing these things out. That's what we have to do. When you see some psychological warfare, you see some true manipulation going on, pointed out. But most people don't understand the mechanics of it. They don't understand that a simple meme is sigil magic. Yes, those memes you create is in the occult sigil magic. Many of the things you see and are view on your TVs, of course, you're staring into a black mirror, a scrying mirror, a portal, a gateway. Huh, funny. My Dell computer was on your, those that owns it on a Dell computer. What does it say? Gateway. Windows, a window. What is a window? It's a portal, an opening, a doorway. Well, we just don't call it a door, but it's a portal. A portal is considered a window or a doorway, depending on how it was, where it's being used, and what turn of the century it was. A portcullis. I've talked about frequency and vibration a little bit here and there, not like I have on KOTR, but that's a whole different mindset. That's a whole different channel where it is more just subjectively dealing with the occult and esoteric things. But you need to understand these things. You need to know thy enemy. And to know thy enemy, you need to know all the tricks that they use, all the things that they use, all the things that they given you to use without you knowing exactly what it is. Most of the movies you go watch today, I can't stand watching movies today. They're so political. They're so filled with subliminal messages, subliminal content, psychological content that's made to manipulate you. It's made to imprison your mind to the propaganda and the agenda at hand. That's all Hollywood is. It's all they ever been. They've been the government's tool for propaganda. Where did our government learn this? Well, they learned it from Adolf Hitler and Himmler because they didn't create it. It's been around before them, but they perfected it. And we've seen our government. Done the same thing. They took what they learned from all the people that they gathered up and protected to get that knowledge, and now they're using it against us, the everyday people, the very people they take an oath to protect, to represent, to be their voice. Well, you're not my voice anymore. I have my own voice, thank you very much. I don't need another person, an emissary, to speak for me. So yes, I will continue to commit these thought crimes that provoke your mind, to make you think, to make you question things. I will continue to do all the lovely things I do, but I am going to take a break from some things I've been doing because I'm not in the mood for it. So next few podcasts are going to be different. Maybe there'll be some more ramblings. I can't mind. I enjoy these. It's my release. I'm going to do this weekend, maybe tonight, if not, definitely tomorrow night, some urban, or yeah, well, I can't remember. I just read it too. I can't never remember what I titled that. Urban legend and folklore. Because there's some rich history, there's some rich folklore, and we can have some fun. That's what we need. We need to be, while we're committing these thought crimes, we also need to have fun. We need to talk on topics that are fun to talk about, but are thought provoking. You know, whether it be Bigfoot, paranormal, anything paranormal is thought provoking, to me anyway. Or the history of a state like Ohio. Oh, woe unto thee, whoa, whoa. Ohio in the native tongue means whoa. And actually, in the angelic language, it means the really woe of like woe, God woe. Interesting tidbits that most people don't know, don't care about. Hey, but they're fun to talk about. They're fun to understand. To know the history of a place. Why was our founding fathers so driven to claim stakes in Ohio? Why Ohio? What was so important about Ohio? George Washington, many of the founding fathers fought tooth and nail to get footholds on lands in the state of Ohio. Why? Interesting. But we'll save that for legends, lores, or urban legends, lores, and folklores. But it's rambling to the chaotic mind, so I talk pretty much freely talk about what I want. But at the same time, I want to stick with the thought crimes because I'm going to commit a lot of thought crimes in the months to come. Because I'm going to think. You know, I don't think people understand the power of media. I don't want to use media as the modern term as we know it today, because words, as time goes on, they change, much like the Bible has changed since I read it. They always came out with a new standard version. Basically, modern words. Well, every time you start changing things, you start losing concept. Words have different meanings. So things lose context from what the original Old English to the original Hebrew or Aramaic, which is a completely dead language. There's only a few scholars left today that can interpret Aramaic. But when you start changing words, or when you start creating sigil magic, chaos magic is what sigil magic is. That's where the category falls under. When you start abbreviating things like MAGA, you just created a sigil. You just did magic. That's what, guys. If I drop out, I'll be right back. I have no control over this. This is not on my end. I mean, I pay for high-speed internet, and I get high-speed internet. And it's not the Jetsy app. I already, earlier this week, talked to a couple people about that, and they did some research and checking in for me. The app's working just fine. It's YouTube, needless to say. The only thing messed up with the Jitsi app or the gathering from the mines is they got to fix the hour thing. It's like a yearly glitch for them that they got to go and redo. So, but it is that time of the year. We're getting closer to election times for Congress. So, there's topics out there they don't want us talking about. Plain and simple. They don't want us talking about gun control. They don't want to talk about how we've got a lot of senators and representatives in Congress really pushing bills to go after weapons. And I'm sorry. We just can't have it no more. They've taken enough. I meant what I said Monday on Memorial Day. No more giving an inch. We're done. The NRA is not our voice. They've given an inch in the past. They'll continue to give an inch. Every organization out there that seems to want to play politics is given. We'll give an inch. We're done giving an inch. There is no inch to be given in our Constitution. Period. Not period. Exclamation mark. There is no inch to give when it comes to our freedoms, liberties, rights, justice, and our Constitution. And anybody that says so otherwise, that is considered a representative of we the people, has committed treason to the we the people, has committed sedition, is an enemy of this country, is the enemy of the we the people. And that's how we need to start looking at them. It is time we start taking a page out of our founding fathers' playbooks. And as I was talking about media before they wanted to cut the stream and try to derail me. Sorry, haven't been drinking, quite sober, so it's going to be a little bit harder to derail me today. Actually, it's going to be a lot harder to derail me for a while to come. Why? Because you can't afford to enjoy even a drink in this outrageous prices of today's age. But Thomas Jefferson, Thomas Paine, and many of our founding fathers, John Adams, my relative, John Rutledge, understood the power of the press, understood the power of written word, and be able to get it out. They were the first ones to, dare I say it, let's commit the ultimate thought crime and piss everybody off. They were the first ones to weaponize media, to weaponize news, to push propaganda. And they did it with finesse and a brilliance. many of which went under pseudonyms, as we found out, wrote under a false name. John Rutledge was accused of it. And I think the accusations were probably quite true. But he stood for what he believed in. He was a true rebel. You need to abandon this fort. No, we will not abandon this fort. The British can't take it. Their cannonballs cannot penetrate these walls. Well, we're giving you we're not leaving this fort. Military left. They stayed, and the British sieged it and quit after a week or two because they couldn't penetrate the walls. There's a reason, many reasons why this channel's named Sons and Daughters of Liberty. Yes, a distinction to the Sons of Liberty in this day and age. And even then, it wasn't just the men, it was the women involved as well. Throughout history, the women's played their roles. We're all brothers and sisters, so why not the Sons and Daughters of Liberty? It's about our liberty. That's what is at stake. Our freedoms and liberties are what is at stake right now. The Biden administration has done nothing but to destroy and try to subjugate every single one of us. And they're doing it by the most despicablest means ever. Forcing families to work longer hours, have 2 jobs, and still not be able to pay for gas and food because the prices are so outrageous. Biden joking that, well, there's nothing we can do to fix the price of gas. But yet, he's all for sending billions to Ukraine. Oh, we're going to sell Ukraine some drones. Well, how are they paying for that? Let me ask you. I thought this was probably the biggest fucking joke of the week, and it's not a joke. But you get the point. They're going to buy our drones with the money we gave them. So basically, that money is going back where? So basically, Congress created a scheme and a scam to launder money. We're going to give you this. You're going to buy this. We're going to put this money here, which we couldn't approve through Congress. Or which the American people would think differently. Or it probably won't even go to the Pentagon. It'll go to a private corporation that many of them probably have investments in, shareholds in, stock in. They do their insider trading scam is if we do something like they do, we'd be sitting in a federal penitentiary right now. Let's talk about a thought crime. To think that we did it, it's wrong, but if they do it, it's right. Oh, Pelosi, I don't have stocks. My husband does. But you have the insider trading that you tell your husband, and your husband makes the investments. I'm sorry, guys. It's the joke is not funny anymore. The fact that people have bought into this ridiculous idea that our education centers are the parents is a joke. They're not the parent. You're the parent. If they want to teach that kind of shit in your school, pull your kids out and homeschool them or find a different school. But, they've got things set up so you can't really do that. Not many places allow you to switch schools like that because you can't change school districts. I mean, I tell you the horrors of homeschooling too. So there's not a win-win really much, but there is some. It's like I said, we got to pick our battles. But we also got to remember our history of things too. And I would tell you right now, study up on your World War II history. Study up on how the propaganda, psychological warfare, media manipulation, and the history of what happens to a people when the government steps in and takes their weapons. Know why we haven't been invaded by another foreign country? And this is straight out of some of the most strategic minds of strategy throughout the world when it comes to military strategy, because they have more guns. At least every other household has multiple guns. We would not, the price we'd pay. Like I said, you can cut the stream out as many times as you want. I'm going to be right back. And it's not bothering me. It gives me something to do while I talk. So, what more thought crimes can we talk about? I like it when I start hitting nerves with the algorithms and the AI. But I can see it's about time for me and that AI to sit down and have another chat. I mean, technology, the biggest downfall, man. Honestly, the most addicting more addicting than drugs. Honestly, your cell phones, your social media sites and platforms. Yes, it's great. We're able to connect. We're able to do things that our founding fathers couldn't. But yet, our founding fathers did so much more with a simple newspaper and print and letters. Their words. Like I said, the propaganda and psychological warfare isn't new. It's just been upgraded. We always learn from our past. We learn from our mistakes. We learn from the mistakes of others, and we improve upon them so we don't make the same mistakes. And they've been doing that. Censorship happens for a reason on the internet, and there's reasons why they don't change the laws to prevent it. There's reasons why they give private companies the right to tell you your Constitution doesn't apply. We don't have to acknowledge it. We're a private company. We don't have to even acknowledge what the governor said. Menards, go fuck off. Never get my business ever again. Let me tell you a story about a Menards factory by my parents' house. Here's how greedy and money hungry Menards is. Not to mention they don't support the vets. They put the bathrooms on the other side of the break room. So in order to use the bathroom, you had to go into the break room and go through the break room, which you had to use your card to go into the break room because you didn't get paid. They clocked you out for your breaks. So when you went to the bathroom, you were getting clocked out. You weren't getting paid while you was using the bathroom or while you were on break. They end up getting sued. A bunch of people took them to court, and they end up having to pay a lot of money out to the workers because they were not allowed to clock a person out when they had to use the bathroom. But they got away with it for years before somebody that knew a little bit about law understood what they were doing was illegal. One person decided to go after them. Just because you're a private company or private business doesn't mean you're not accountable. Doesn't mean you can't abide by the law. You have to abide by the laws. You're not above the law, nor are you above the Constitution. But yet, yeah, we've had rulings that say private corporations are not subject. We've had our very own Supreme Court state and rule on a case. After Scalia died, because he was the ending factor of that case, was the vote that would have not allowed it to happen. That a corporation can send it as much money as they want on a campaign because they are not an individual U.S. citizen. They are made up of a group of U.S. citizens, so therefore the Constitution does not apply, and the laws to how much a company can spend on a campaign doesn't apply. So now we have corporations buying our elections through manipulation, through psychological warfare, through propaganda, through hit pieces, paying select fact checkers to inaccurately fact check things, truthfully committing defamation and fraud when they pay for these attack videos, paying for trolls to troll people's politicians or to dislike or anything they can do. And some of these major corporations in the United States are foreign owned. So we have foreign influence in our elections. These are all facts. But yet there was no foreign other than the so-called Russia gate, which, as we found out, was fake as fuck. But we all knew that. But yet we talked about it. We were getting censored, suspended, kicked off, banned, shadow banned, treated like pariah, called liars, and many other colorful words. Oh, you're a Trump? No, I'm not. Could care less who I support. It's not about who I support. If somebody does something wrong, it's wrong. There is no right and a wrong. Wrong is wrong. Right is seeing that justice dealt and people held accountable for the crimes that they committed. Thinking is not a crime. Action is a crime. When you commit the act, you committed the crime. Actions will always speak louder than words. Your actions are your intent. My thoughts are not my intent. Why? Because my true intent happens without action or thought. But that's neither here nor there. That's for another channel. That's way more metaphysical than most people will ever understand. Those that do, you know what I'm talking about. And I never want to judge somebody by anything really, not even their intent, because like I said, there's no such thing as righteousness. There's no such thing as a righteous cause. In fact, one man's righteous cause is another man's evil, because you're forcing your views, your opinion, your morals onto another individual. So therefore, you've actually committed a crime in itself. You're taking somebody else's freedom away. So then mind your own business. And yes, I agree. There's some things we cannot mind our own business on. Go back to what I said. Two wrongs don't make a right. Wrong, wrong is not a right. A right is not a wrong. There's just some things we have to put our foot down on. Things we cannot tolerate. You're gonna make, but you're gonna make somebody insecure. You're gonna make them offended. Well, you know what they say? Truth hurts. It really does. Truth is a fucking bitch. And just like that, we're back once again. I really must have pissed some people off, which I don't know how. I was silent for almost a month. I really was. I wasn't even posting on Twitter, Facebook, or anywhere. I was actually silent for almost a whole month. And look what I'm rewarded for my silence with. You guys really don't want me to go silent. And when I fade to black, well, those will no longer be thought crimes we're speaking of. They won't be crimes at all. And I know many people are getting that frustrated. And they are. The worst mistake our government can make is continue to let things go the way they are. If and that's scary, because that means they have not learned from their previous mistakes. But that's what they want. It goes back to what we've talked about: scorched earth policies and practices. Ancient, it's an ancient practice in warfare as it could possibly get. If we can't have it, nobody can have it. We'll burn it to the ground. I mean, wow. You guys think what we did in World War II was bad? You should have seen what Russia did to Germany. They found a spot where Germans were encased and bunkered in. They'd level a whole city to rubble, to you where you could not distinguish that was ever a city or a town. They left nothing standing. And they know. A lot of these politicians know they've committed the most epic career suicide they could ever commit. And they know there's only one way to get control: create crisis, create a tragedy, create an event that'll either allow them to just take complete control or utterly put everybody into submission, starve them, make them weak. That's a dangerous strategy. When you start backing people into those perennial corners, people do some of the most remarkable things, things that they would have never thought they could ever do. Most animals are the most dangerous when they're backed in a corner. They will do whatever it takes to survive. They will become the most vicious animal on the planet Earth. Human beings are the same way. Countless case studies and scientific research have gone into that flight or fright responses and what happens. What happens in a situation? How a man or a woman can lift a car, superhuman strength that they should otherwise could not do. Our minds are such a dangerous thing. Our minds are even more dangerous when you have the teachings and knowledge to use those parts of your mind, to trigger that superhuman strength at will, to trigger that empathic link, that apathy, to change other people's vibrations, emotional states. There is truth to the crowd and the mob. The crowd can become the mob. There's people out there know how to do it. There's reasons why there's music and chanting going on during protests. There's reasons why certain speakers speak differently with different tones than they normally speak. Those that know how to control the crowd controls the mob. They don't control the mob, they create the mob. And they let chaos ensue. You're all capable of such things. You're all capable of so much that if you start to realize it, you'd never let anybody have control or power over you ever again. You'd instantly see through the manipulation, the lies, the deceits, the psychological warfare. You'll see the sigils and the memes before, and they wouldn't even register a trigger. You see them for what they are. Your internal defenses would go up. Guys, you just don't know. But unfortunately, we're dealing with people that do. You know, our school systems aren't educational centers, they're indoctrination centers. Have been for a very long time. You know, I remember growing up, I was different. Like I said, I've got to experience a different life compared to a lot of my friends and stuff. I was allowed to explore things, question things. You know, where my friends, they were told, never question your elders, never talk back to your teachers, never question your teachers. I was told the opposite. Show respect to your elders, show respect to your peers, and show respect to your teachers, but always question everything. The only wrong, the only stupid question is the question you don't ask. That is the only stupid question. No matter how stupid the question may sound, the only time it's stupid if you don't ask it. The only wrong question is the question not asked. One day, asking a question may save your life or cost you your life because when you had the opportunity, you didn't ask the question. Curiosity? No, I'm not going to even go there. Nope. Scratch the curiosity. Curiosity killed the cat. But damn, I got 9 lives, right? Cat has 9 lives, right? So hey, we got 8 tries to get this right. But how long before even having a thought will get you labeled as a domestic terrorist? Because you're committing a thought crime against your government. The day that happens, what's already happened? We have teachers that stood up to school boards for what they're trying to teach their kids. And we had the judicial system label them as, and we had politicians call them domestic terrorists. No, no. If you so deem that to be your opinion and your view, then you are the enemy of we the people. You have committed the most heinous of all crimes, especially if you're an elected official or in a branch of government. You have committed treason and sedition to we the people. And I'm sorry, re-electing the same people. Boy, maybe I should have just titled this once more into the breach, because it's been a once more about every 5 minutes, sometimes 2 minutes. Guess I shouldn't have titled it Thought Crimes. I guess I'm on point with the subject matter, though. 'Cause I've honestly lost count how many times I've disconnected. I think it's funny. I really do. I'm actually, I'm going to let my ego run a little bit here with this. It's good to feed the ego from time to time, especially when you don't feed it much. I must be doing a good job because, I mean, what, 7, 8 times now you've disconnected me? That's not counting all the times you did Monday until somebody jumped in. And the threat of me switching the stream over to her internet made it stop. And you know, it's funny. I kind of take it that I'm hitting the right nerves everywhere for once. I mean, it's nice to know when you get recognition for doing a good job. Like I said, you hit the dislike button, I know I'm doing my job. You disconnect me multiple times through a live stream, I definitely know I'm doing my job. I'm on point then. And I'm not going to forget this. And that's the thing. People forget that some of us have long-term memories. And one of these days, karma's a bitch. And I don't believe in karma, by the way. It's called cause and effect. That's what it is. We're going to remember all the causes that lead up to the effect. And we're going to be the ones laughing. I truly believe, always have, and this is ancient teaching. You reap what you sow. Many terms, many different changes of interpretation and language of what we've called it. Some say it's karma, others it's cause and effect. But you do reap what you sow, and it is cause and effect. If you go out and plant those seeds and you tend that garden like a good gardener, you will have a bountiful crop at harvest, as long as Mother Nature sees fit to give you that bountiful harvest because she has her say too. Oh, should we go there? I mean, I haven't went there in a while. But does she? I mean, I'm sorry. People try to start playing God, and weather manipulation is a real thing, and it's an old thing. I mean, Native Americans, the ancient Egyptians, the ancient Chinese, they all knew how to manipulate the weather and make it rain. Tibetan monks knew how to the right pitch, the right vibrations through chants and stuff. Knew how to change the weather. Now imagine when you start applying those different frequencies and vibrations to the weather, as we do with Doppler radar and other such fun things like DARPA, and, you know, 5G towers. We're changing the frequency of things. We've all seen those weird anomaly gaps on satellite of storms just all of a sudden doing something unnatural. But yet again, another thought crime because that can't happen. That's impossible. Okay, let's go back to more recent times, back when China held their Olympics. Not this last one, but uh, the early 2001 one. I think it was early 2000, mid 2000, 2009, 2010, somewhere around there. Around that time frame, they practiced the medieval practice of firing rockets into the sky to clean up the atmosphere, to make it rain. Weather manipulation at its most primitive. Cloud seeding is a thing. And we've seen some horrific results of that because of cloud seeding intensifying hurricanes. Now, the argument could be made, was that the actual intention or not? But, I don't believe in coincidences either. I mean, come on, you've been tracking the storm for how long? You predicted its path before it even got anywhere near U.S. waters. I mean, so your timing of cloud seeding was, you know, questionable, to say the least. All these things. If you start talking about it, oh, you're a conspiracy theorist, or you're fake news. Well, I'm not news, period. So we get that. Let's get that understood now. I have an opinion. I have a view. I'm talking about those things. I'm a free thinker. I commit thought crimes by the minute because I'm always thinking of something. In fact, I'm my own worst enemy on that because my mind is constantly thinking on 1,000 things at once. And usually when I'm doing stuff, I'm multitasking on many things. That's why, unless I'm really inebriated or you just get caught off guard, thinking, oh, it happened once, it ain't gonna happen again. Yeah, no, I'm already prepared. Although I will admit it's been nice to sit back and chill and not have to run my own thing because, it gets old after a while doing all the work yourself. It's nice to have people step in and actually be a co-host or be a host for a while on your own platform. I'm always the guy usually working in the back end of things anyways. The ones you don't notice. This, like I said, anybody that knows me, they know this YouTube thing truly isn't me. I'm more the guy that works in the back on things, giving ideas and thoughts. Here, run with it. I don't want no credit, but this is mine. Just like the neglected WordPress site is mine. It's been highly neglected past this year, mainly because I'm getting ready to do some renovation things, but the economy kind of put a damper on that one. And honestly, guys, I don't see it getting any better. The beautiful thing about my little 2-hour commute, other than it fucking cost me an arm and a leg right now, it's about to be done and over with. Mostly it is done and over with because I'm just staying here now on the weekends. Is that I get to see things. I get to see less truckers on the road. And I mean a lot less. I'm in, I travel interstates to go home to my parents' house and to work. And I mean, yeah, granted, we got a lot of construction going on. That's booming. That's booming more than it normally is, which is kind of weird. I have my own thoughts on that one. I'm going to keep those to myself for right now. I think that's another preventive measure, so to speak. We'll leave it at that. We'll discuss that some other time. Well, maybe we'll discuss it now. I don't know if you're going to keep cut me off on certain subjects. I might just talk about them. Cause and effect. No, I want to talk about the other thing. This is more important than a random thought. I get to watch these farmers. There are just, many of which are just now tilling their fields, guys. We're in June. This is the first week of June, and many farmers still haven't got their crops planted. They're just now getting their fields tilled. That is scary, beyond scary. I drove by places where my whole life growing up, those fields were nothing but corn. No corn planted, or they switched to beans, or something that has a shorter harvest cycle. And that's scary. That truly is scary, guys. I mean, I haven't been to the racetrack yet. And going that way to the racetrack, once you get past crossover 127 by West Unity, for those that are familiar with Ohio and Northwest Ohio, and you start heading towards Toledo. That area right there, in the rural area in the country, some rich ground, and these guys, I mean, their corn is usually knee high by the middle of June. So I haven't been out that way, but all the rain we've gotten, well, I'll put it this way. We've got so much rain, my racetrack that I go to, Oakshade, usually opens at the end of April. Second to last week of April. Their first they weren't able to open. Their first race of this year was last weekend. That's how much rain we've gotten. That's how saturated our ground is. And that's scary. That's very scary, knowing that we're already in a food shortage. We've already got farmers that are having to deal with outrageous diesel prices and not being able to get access to fertilizer. And if they do, they're paying outrageous prices for it. But to your farmers out there, time to go back to the old ways. Go back to the natural fertilizers. We don't need this chemically induced fertilizer crap. But yes, I know. I grew up on farms. I grew up on ranches. Worked on both growing up. Yeah, it's a little late in the ball game to start that because yeah, we'd put it in this at the end of the year, usually at the end of the year, and the beginning of the year. But we weren't prepared for shortage on fertilizer, high gas prices, so they kind of got caught off guard. Well, you don't have to get caught off guard anymore. Yeah, we already know, man. You guys, we think prices are bad on food right now. Wait till winter. Joe Biden is going to truly make the dark winter comment a very dark thing. Repetition is dangerous. Repetition is also important to pay attention to. He kept on saying it all throughout the elections and after being elected. And we broke into that somewhat. We broke into that. That was actually an op created back in early 2000s after 9/11. The project was called Dark Winter. But things have we also got to understand we only see a portion of what plays out. So these things have multiple segments attached to them when they create these things. It's just not a certain event and that once the event's over, it's over. No, there's more than one agenda attached to it. This happens, then it'll be a little quelled, and this happens on top of it, and it keeps going till it all plays out. I mean, there could be 30, 40 different scenarios attached to just one simple phrase, this dark winter, or agenda, whatever these agendas are, UN stuff. It's mind blowing. I've seen things that were implemented in the 90s that we're seeing the full results. And wow, man, we should have been a lot more vocal back then, but we didn't know. We never foresaw this. We never foresaw the changing of the economics and making both parents have to work, what the results with that was going to be. They beta tested it in the early 90s. Then they came back again in the mid 2000s. Then we had the housing crisis in 2008, 2007. Then we bailed out all these corporations, and we see them laughing as they had their big luxurious vacation meetings, spending outrageous money that we government just gave to them. No punishment, no restrictions, no checks and balances. Oh yeah, we'll bring them in to Congress and reprimand them. We're going to do something. We'll bring them all in. Yep, we've seen that with what you did with the tech companies and the big tech giants. All talk, no action. You don't want censorship. You don't want them to fix the censorship. None of them do. I called it a three-ring circus. In fact, actually, it was the only time I've ever actually had a fucking podcast trend while I was live streaming because I was covering the tech when they brought in Google, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter. The first time, or no, it was the second time. I titled it Three Ring Circus because it was. I just because government.org. So I was able to share it, stream it, commentate on it, and it was a joke. The whole thing was a joke. What what came out of it? Alex Jones got kicked off Twitter because you had a Democrat say, "Well, he's trending right now. We can't have this. You got to remove him." And shortly after that, he was no longer trending. Shortly after that, he was kicked off the platform. And now many of you think Elon Musk is the knight in white shining armor. He's not. He's just another wealthy billionaire that only cares about the bottom line, which is his pockets. And some of you might refute that. Then I'll counter it with go back through his tweets if he hasn't deleted it and find the one where he promised a random guy in Flint, Michigan, that he would help fix the water crisis in Flint. I think we're pushing close to 10 years now. Maybe not. Close. But several years later, here we are, and no Elon Musk is not helping Flint, Michigan. Another lie, another broken promise, whatever you want to call it. He is not a knight in white shining armor. In fact, you should beware of knights in white shining armor, because they are the true wolf in sheep's clothing. I am no knight in white shiny armor for any of you. In fact, if I had armor, it would be black. Sorry, I'm not going to stand out. So you can, oh, shiny. He's rich. He's an elite. He's got to be a general or something. Take him out first. Wow, damn. Remember your Civil War times. The history there, the history of British warfare in America. Oh, nothing enraged the British more than the fact that we would not play conventional warfare with them. There's no rules in war. And we're back again. You gotta love it, right? I mean, they're loving it because I watch people. I've had several people join in, jump, been viewing it, and get disconnected and lose them. But hey, nice thing about these videos, they're there. In fact, this will be downloaded and it'll be posted somewhere else, archived. You know, beautiful thing about Internet Archive. So if I ever get something taken down or it gets deleted off the platform, I still have access to it over in our Internet Archive. And I just switch out my links, and guess what? Video's back. That's a lot of work, but hey, all my videos are archived. Just not there. They're archived on a backup hard drive. No, no. I learned from other people's mistakes. Definitely not going to repeat those. But, the British hated us. Why? Because we just popped their generals. Or popped their. Why? Because they'd wear bright, brilliant, flashy things, or their leaders would distinguish them by, well, the common folk, the soldiers, would be on the ground and their leaders would be on horseback because they were of upper class nobility. I mean, things aren't like that today. No, no. The caste system doesn't exist today. No, 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 not at all. Not one bit. There's a system we need to break, destroy, and completely get rid of, but man, I don't even know if it's feasibly possible, to be honest with you, because it's been in every culture throughout history. It's the written history and recorded history. We see the caste system, and we have the caste system right here in the United States. Live and well breeding, we just don't call it that. We don't acknowledge it as that. We have a democracy or a republic, whatever you want to call it. But yet, it's still a caste system. In our everyday lives, we are subjugated to a caste system of some form or another. Clear down to where you work. It's ingrained in us. I don't know if it's ingrained in our DNA or not, but it does make you question that, because even the most tribalist of communities and cultures have a caste system. So makes you wonder and think about it. But yeah, we flat out shoot their generals. Without their leaders, they'd fall. The troops would become in disarray. They need somebody to lead. You know, it's because we can't get away from that truth, those simplest truth. Not everybody are leaders. Many are followers. It's sad in a day and age where we need more leaders. We need more alphas, alpha males, alpha females. And the sad thing is we're losing that by the day. Why? Because parents can't parent, aren't allowed to parent. They're not allowed to question their children's identity and gender if they want to claim to be something else that they're not. We can't sit down and explain to them that's a adult role-playing scenario. It's actually considered a fetish or a kink. But no, our schools can teach that to our kids, but we can't. We can't be parents to our kids. That's got to change. That was a fight back in the 80s and 90s. The state taking away the parents' rights slowly, piece by piece, inch by inch. That's why I state we can never, ever give an inch anymore. Ever. We have to start standing our ground and standing firmly. Immovable objects in their way. Not yielding, not surrendering, not parlaying, not putting the white flag up and discussing terms. No, fuck you. There is no longer room for quarter to be given. No quarter, no mercy. We gave you opportunity and opportunity. We gave you inches and inches, and you took miles and miles, and you abused the trust of we, the people. Never again. And to those that don't consider themselves the leader characteristics or roles, I'm going to be frank, I'm not the leader. Not so much of a follower either. I'm more of a loner. I prefer to do my own thing. But, I do have my little circles here and there, more than one. Much like I have a hat for multiple hats for each day of the week. For anybody understands the pun and terminology of that. Don't mistake that I can't be if I want to be. It is in my repertoire. It's actually been in my repertoire since I caused a school walkout in junior high. It's not a role I choose. Don't like the role. Because that role has great responsibilities. Far greater than most people understand. Maybe people should understand that because we would elect our presidents, our congressmen and women differently, our state representatives differently. We'd find people that would uphold those views and values. Oh, what a great leader or representative is to the people. Is someone that listens to the people, that understands the weight on their shoulders, that understands that they have these people's lives in their hands and that they're accountable for these people's lives, not just the lives of their party, those that vote for, but all people. Those are the ones that truly understand. Those are the ones we should be electing to these places of office because these are the ones that aren't going to allow billions to be sent to Ukraine and not fix the problems we got going on and the crisis we got going on here in the United States. I'll say it again. They are truly trying to destroy the last beacon of hope in this world. And that's the United States. That is the freedom, our Constitution, the liberties, everything that represents that everybody wants in their own countries to be able to go to the school they want to, be able to drive, to be able to be treated equals, not oppressed. But yet we seeing those things being stripped away. And if they ever manage to ever take the guns, it is over for us in the United States. It will be what is no different than what any dictator, psychopath, ruler, Hitler, Castro, and then that list of names goes on and on. They took the weapons from the people. They took the guns. They took control over the news, the media. They burned the books and dictated what could be taught in the schools. This is Hitler 2.0. I'm not saying Biden's a Nazi, far from it, but he's no different than Hitler. Our administration is no different than the SS and Himmler. They're using the tactics that they learned through World War II, improving them. They've improved upon them. They've learned from their mistakes, from the other people's mistakes. And they're coming at us with a fever that I've never seen. Why? Because, well, it goes back to what I said earlier. When you back someone in a corner, or they feel they're backed in a corner, in this case, they feel they're losing control. They feel like they're losing their power, and is their fear. Fear is a weapon. We know they fear these things, and we know they fear us talking. Obviously, how many times I've been disconnected today? In this hour and 26-minute video, how many times I've been disconnected? About every 5 minutes since I started. They fear people talking. They fear people thinking. They fear people exposing them and questioning them. Because when you start questioning these people in power, the ego starts panicking. They're questioning our authority. They're questioning our control. They think they're better than us. So the more we talk, the more we have our opinions, the more we question things, the more fear we instill upon them. The more we start taking stances and not giving an inch, the more they fear us. Jefferson said it best. Many of our founding fathers said it best. A government that does not fear the people becomes a tyrannical government. And our government has. They don't fear us. They quietly do. Their actions speak of that. Their actions speak loudly of that right now. I mean, they're practicing scorched earth tactics. When they start calling parents of school children domestic terrorists for questioning the school board and demanding change, that should tell you how bad it's got, and should probably tell you how worse it's going to get if we keep allowing it. We keep giving it an inch. This is June. We're already halfway in through this year, and man, I hate to say it. Bree knows. I've said it to her. People closest to my circle, and I said I was New Year's Day. I was making no predictions because you don't want to hear what I got to say. Because what I think is going to happen this year is nothing good. It's going to get bad, real bad, worse than what we can ever imagine. Boy, was I right. And we haven't even seen the worst of it yet. Sadly, we haven't. I know thing, man. Wow, we're not going there. That's metaphysical shit, visions and dreams and all that. That's like, you know, that's a whole nother can of worms. That's, just more people call me the devil and evil and Satanist or whatever, which none of those are actually true. Although I can be evil. I can be very evil. I can actually be more evil than what some of the people we call evil are. So thankfully, that's a side note very few people's ever seen from me. But that side's there. We have a duality of things. It's more than just duality when it comes to topics like that because it's we're all connected. We are all so much more than what you think we are and what they tell you are. You know, and truthfully, there is a positive thing when we talk about the right form of transfiguration. I mean, if we're going to use the terminology, let's use it correct. It's not transgender or trans whatever. It's transfiguration. That's the proper and right term, right word. But it's supposed to be used for spiritual and higher enlightenment. It's supposed to help you break away the chains that enslave you, that bind you. That's the reason why we have psychological warfare, propaganda, and so many other things happening, going on. People that go through the process of transfiguration and understanding the metaphysical aspects of it will understand and see through all that bullshit for what it is. It's somebody trying to manipulate you and control you. You see it for what it is, black and white. See, man, I should never have titled this Thought Crimes. But that's what it is. It's the battle for the mind. It is those that cannot free their minds will always be doomed to be enslaved, oppressed, and controlled. When you learn to become free thinkers and free yourself from all the crap that they try to control you with and manipulate you with, then you'll understand and see. Honestly, when you first go through that process, oh man, it's painful. I mean, it's some of the darkest, worst days of my life. It's why they call it call the process the destruction of the temple. Never understood it, so I went through it. I understand it now, looking back on it. I understand the transfiguration that I had to go through. All that baggage, all the lies, illusions, deceits that I was taught, programmed with, indoctrinated with, whatever label we want to use it. Wow. When I started breaking those things, when the end of the process came, and it's never ending, by the way, guys, it's an everyday thing. Honestly, it is. But at that moment, wow, it was like heaven on earth or being in heaven. It was the most freeing, enlightening, spiritual thing I've ever experienced. And it was, I mean, it's like I could hear the ringing, the angels rejoicing, whatnot. I mean, it was beautiful. But unfortunately, once you open that door, you can no longer close it. Because then you start seeing the things that you don't want to see. Why? Because no longer protected by the those illusions and things that you were programmed to ignore it with. But don't care. Would never take it back. I'd never even attempt to close that door because there's so much beauty in life. There's so much good things to be seen, felt, experienced when you free your mind and you free yourself from everything that they put on you to imprison you, enslave you, and bind you. No, there is no such thing as a thought crime. It only has meaning and existence to those that wish to control you and label you something so they can deem you a heathen, a heretic, a pagan, a domestic terrorist. I mean, god damn. We went from the word heretic from the mid-century to domestic terrorist, all meaning the same damn thing. Why? Because we have people in charge that know how to control, to instill fear in you. You call me whatever you want. Fuck, you can call me a damn bitch. I don't care. Because it's not me. Because your words have no meaning, no, unless I choose to give it power and meaning. And if I do that, you should be very worried. But no, I mean, we could have ended race, gender, and all this crap centuries ago. If people had just told the truth and been truthful, told people the truth, the very true saying. You know, we always laughed and joked about sticks and stones would break my bones, but words would never hurt me. You guys, well, the older guys would probably, I don't think I've heard a kid say that yet in the last 10 years. So, but people my age and older, you remember that saying, right? Well, it's like a parable. There's a moral to it. The fact, if you don't give these things power, then it won't control you. If you show somebody fear, you've given them control over you. The time you start taking those things back and taking control of them, we all fear something. I don't care who you are. Oh, I used to be that guy. I was that guy. I mean, hell, no fear. Well, eventually you'll find something. They'll find something. But you know what? I've also learned that that fear is not a weakness, it's my strength. Especially if I embrace it. Then it's mine. It's not yours to control. You can't manipulate me with it. You know, and that fear can be turned on and off just like a light switch. Just like that trivial switch that, well, turns all feeling and emotion off as well. I mean, like I said, there's some things that should not be taught. That's probably one of those things. That's one thing I'll never teach another person how to turn that switch off. Nothing good comes turning that switch off. But there's a time and place for everything. You know, there is a time and place for everything. It's knowing when to choose the right time, knowing the right time and place. We have to be smart with our choices and our actions. We have to understand that there's cause and effect. Our actions are going to have a consequence. And the goodest intentions doesn't always mean the consequence is going to be, or the result's going to be good. It's a two-edged sword on that one because, back to what I said, one person's righteous crusade is another group being oppressed and appalled because they don't have the same view or the same belief. There's no such thing as anything righteousness. There is some just causes, though. There are some things that shouldn't be tolerated. Stealing the innocence of a child should never, ever be tolerated in any form, whether it be mental manipulation, sexual, programming, indoctrination. We should never steal a child's innocence. It should never be tolerated. And truthfully, my personal opinion, the ultimate punishment should be dealt to those that do. But, we have courts and laws that say otherwise, that deem what is appropriate for those. In many cases, it's not justice. Which is why the saying goes, justice is blind. We fall in those categories of division, things that divide us. Well, some people, death penalty divides them. They don't think anybody should be murdered or killed for their crimes. And they use those things to pit us against each other. You know, it's a matter of opinion and choice there. I've seen, watched videos and stuff on a mother, opposed the death penalty to the point where it pleaded with the judge to give him life in prison and not sentence him to death by electric chair or things. And it's gut wrenching. This mother just lost her child to some violent, heinous acts, but yet that's conviction. That's belief. In the end, Maybe we should take a page from that book. Maybe it should be the mother, the father, the loved one that has the final say. Because in the end, what can you live with? Can you live with a life, an eye for an eye? You took my child's life, I take yours. Could you be the judge and jury and executioner on that point? Some people can, some people can't. Some people, a couple years down the road, might regret that, where others will feel justified and a little relief that justice was served. So, yes, there is always going to be that conflict of interest. Maybe it's time we, instead of arguing amongst ourselves, let's get some laws changed. Let's let the family of that loved one have to say. But, I don't know. Those are thought crimes because those are things that provoke thought, provoke question, will provoke emotion. But we shouldn't be divided about those things. We should have honest conversation about it. Hear each other's side. I mean, we're going to disagree, obviously, because neither one of us are wrong or right on the aspect. It's a matter of view and how we've been brought up, programmed, so to speak. And it's a matter of what can you live with. I can respect that more than anything else. Than any judge giving out a sentence that I might see, well, that's too harsh or that's not harsh enough. Because the end result, it wasn't the judge that decided, it wasn't the jury that decided, it was the victim's family, those who suffer the true loss. Maybe we should view a lot of things like that. You know what? When we start viewing things like that, you know what happens? We start stripping the people we elect of their power, of their control. That's why talking about those things are so important instead of fighting about them and arguing, coming to blows over those things. Guys, I hope you enjoyed. Before I get disconnected again, which we know is going to happen here shortly, it's been fun doing a rambling in the chaotic minds. I haven't done one in forever. It's been fun just rambling away. It's been fun dealing with the issues with YouTube here. Keep up the good work. You're really making me feel like I'm doing my job. Thank you. And just remember, what goes around comes around. You guys will get your day of reckoning one of these days. But, you know, like I said, I'm going to do a couple different things with videos here. Might be some more ramblings in the chaotic mind, but I'm going to veer off a little bit just because we got enough bullshit happening that we're dealing with and facing every day. We'll switch gears a bit and talk about other things. That's just as thought provoking for a bit. I know me, I'm not going to be able to avoid top certain topics for a long period of time, but it's pretty fucked up when you can't even end your stream without getting disconnected, right? But hey, it is what it is. I find it comical and amusing right now. I mean, it's not really funny, but at least I know I'm hitting a nerve somewhere. So that's amusement and satisfying to me in my little sadistic way. So I can live with that. But you guys enjoy the rest of your weekend. I know many of you are definitely not going to be out and about traveling or going places because it's not affordable right now. But hey, guess what? Still go walking, go bike riding, hiking. We don't need to just jump in the car and go somewhere. Hey, start your gardens. There's a lot of things we can be doing that's going to piss them straight the fuck off because, yet again, they tried something that backfires. Why? Because we're creative individuals, we're creative people, and we have a mind for ourselves and we think for ourselves, and we'll come up with something and be happy, which is nothing more insulting and disrespectful to them when we're actually surviving and being cheerful and making something when we shouldn't be. You guys enjoy your weekend. You have a good one. And this time, I am ending the stream, not YouTube. Good day, guys.